Hi guys, pretty quiet session overnight in comparison to last week's volatility, but we did have holidays in Europe and the UK for May Day, and everybody's sort of waiting for the inflation on Wednesday night and the PPIs as well. But bonds are up, well, not significantly, but a bit of a strong session when you compare that to stocks, which is just sideways, as you can see here. That's pretty much the US session. Well, that's the full day session, right? So you can see the daily bar there. There's not much to speak of in stocks. The fear index back down, nobody's worried, but when you go and look at bonds, they should be, as the bond market continues to rise, and interest rates, what you've got to remember is interest rates are inverse to actual bonds. So when you see a chart like this, which is everybody's short bonds by a massive amount, new record short, they're actually long interest rates, right? So even though the Fed has kind of hinted at that they're getting close to the top, we've got a massive record short position in the bonds. Now, unwinding that is, it's going to take time. You can see this is built up over a number of years, 5 or 6 years. It's not going to unwind overnight, and there will be profit taking, and that's probably around the top of the market, which should be sometime this year. I would expect interest rates to peak. So whilst bonds continue to rally and stocks hold up and there's no fear, it's still that battle between who's right and who's wrong. Bitcoin got toasted overnight thanks to Binance restricting withdrawals and clogged up the system. But we're seeing gold doing okay, back up smalls, and dollar index also seeing a bit of flow despite the VIX. There's that sort of resistance line there, which that support level that it's struggling to sort of push through, and finding buyers each time it comes down to it. That commodity markets, we'll just go and have a look at the commodity markets. We're seeing copper up a little bit, the commodity index up strongly, oil up, wheat up, coal and iron ore stabilised, and that's feeding through to the Aussie. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I want to come over here and do this. Aussie, and we're seeing Aussie back up testing that 68 level, which is across here. Failed again off it last night. Failed off it last night again, so let's sink that across. Effectively that should be 68. Nice round number. So 68, failed off that. I might struggle to get through it because certainly the daily is overheated on the momentum. Compare that to the euro. Momentum indicator on the daily is right on 50, which indicates it could go either way. It'll be dominated by the what the US is doing. But it's pretty choppy. When you look at the 4 hour, we can see it's very choppy. Cable, mentioned this in my in the blog, that this 2650 level is where it peaked a year ago. It fell through it in early 2022, rallied back up to it and peaked before having a massive rundown, and then it's managed to claw its way back. So there's be quite a strong resistance level. I thought it might pull back to these highs here, which is this sort of double top across here, before having another crack at it, and that looks like that's playing out for us. So that's one to watch. And dollar yen, nice little swing low here, and looking for that to come back up and retest these highs here around circa 138, and that seems to, whilst on the hour it's just tracking sideways, I would expect that to play out. And that's about the sum of today. Tomorrow night will be when it gets really interesting. We'll chat to you tomorrow.